Death Club.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Danny here. Today I'm talking to you about the world's first rom-com, Oga and Bebe. So world's first rom-com is written and drawn by Boy Okiraku, and this is published in Shonen Sunday. Of course, Komi-san, Hajime no Ippo, so many other series that come out of this magazine. Currently ongoing, and there is 18 chapters, I believe, last I checked on the mangaka's Twitter. Translation-wise, though, there's only 15 chapters, so that's all we're going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and get right into it, man. This stars our main character, Bebe, who is this kid who lives in this village during the prehistoric era, and he hangs out all the time with his childhood best friend who's a year older than him, and her name is Oga. But recently, Bebe he's been feeling something strange going on inside of him that he just can't understand. And he's very confused, doesn't know what's going on, and it only happens when he's around Oga. So he's trying to get advice from his older brother, and he says, like, oh, bro, you're just horny. It's your libido. Like, you're just trying to get it in. It's going to go away once that happens. He's like, really? Is that what that is? But the way it's phrased initially was just like, yeah, it's like having mammoths inside of you. He's like, what, mammoths? Like, I don't want to turn into a mammoth. And, you know, he's starting to overreact and stuff when he's with Oga, but Oga's concerned because she thinks, oh, does Bebe not want to hang out with me anymore? What's going on? Like, we were close all the time. So she doesn't understand it, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. And then finally something happens that gets Bebe just so flushed red in the face that it triggers. And right behind him, this big moment just says Doki, which of course is heartbeat. Right, it's just like, oh, you got my Doki Doki acting up kind of thing. So that's the real moment for Bebe to be like, oh man, I need to learn more about this. Like, what's going on? Like, I have to make it my mission to figure out what's going on because he likes it. It's nice. And that's pretty much the basic premise here for the manga. It's just a rom-com. And the smart thing about the series is that it's called the world's first rom-com. So what does that mean? You can get away with using every single trope that's out there for rom-coms, throw it in here, and it's going to work because this is the first time this is happening in this world to these characters. And it's great. It's hilarious. They do get a bit over the top sometimes with the writing, as far as like, oh yeah, whatever, let's just bring up some wild stuff that it just only makes sense because it's a comedy series as well. We can get away with having some of the writing just be over the top or bring some stuff that shouldn't even be mentioned in this era. Like there's a chapter where they're using emojis and stuff, and it's just like, okay, yeah, like that's there for the over the top ridiculous humor. Like that's fine. I get it. It's a great read. So many wholesome moments. The humor's there to help balance it out. The art style is great. Really complements everything, especially when Bebe is freaking out, trying to understand his feelings. And in the early chapters, I was thinking, so when is it going to be on Oga's side? When is she going to be catching feelings? Because that's got to complete the whole rom-com scenario where they both have feelings for each other, but they can't really explain what's going on. They're happy that they're able to do things together. It did pop up, and it totally fits with Oga's character to where she only got just like the first glimpse at it, but she's such a curious person that she wants to find out more about this. And then she starts getting more conscious about certain things, and all that stuff is just great. It's definitely worth the read, man, because we're going to be seeing all the rom-com tropes that are out there for this series. And Okiraku does such a good job of writing to where it doesn't feel like it's being overplayed. It's like, oh, we've seen this already. Who cares? It's like, no, we've seen this already, but it's good enough to be like, I want to see what the outcome is with these characters because it's either going to be hilarious, it's going to be wholesome, a mix of both. That's all I'm really here for. Now, I could do more of just toning back the over-the-top stuff sometimes, like I said with the emoji bits. Like, yeah, that was fun playing all that, but I think it kind of just distracts that, like, hey, we're here in the prehistoric era. I kind of want that just to pop up a little bit more. Because I think you can go too hard with the over-the-top stuff, like grass roast, right? We talked about that a long time ago prehistoric setting, and I thought that was going to be interesting, but then it just became a manga that just happened to be set back in the day. And they were like, oh, well, like, let's have this guy make the first Ono holes and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, that's just not what I was here for, kind of thing. Just all that wild over the top stuff, don't want it. But so far, everything's been fine. And if you could just keep it like this, it'd be perfect. The supporting cast is great, but specifically just two of them. The ones that always hang out with Oga and Bebe, Bebe's older brother, who he got advice from early on. And then their friend, who is the number one huntress. They bring in good moments for the group when it's needed. I'm looking forward to what Okiraku is going to be doing with these characters. Hopefully it's going in the direction I think was hinted at early on. And hopefully I could kind of see that later down the line. I would like this series to go a certain direction. That could be fun. And we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we got in store for this series. Hopefully it just builds up more traction from here on out. One volume's already out, and people seem to really enjoy it. So looking forward to this. If it could get an anime, perfect. When I was reading this, the first thing I thought of was, oh, this would be perfect as an anime. It would get so much traction. It has the right setting, the right premise. It's a rom-com. What more do you want? And on a side note, the one shot is up. I would say it goes in the old school-ish route. I would say there might be some influence from Dragon Ball involved with this series. I say that because of what the one shot brought in. Oga and Bebe had a bigger age gap, which got changed. And Bebe himself was actually like Goku height in Dragon Ball versus how he is in the main series. He's normalish height. He's still short, but that's because they have to get the younger aspect into him. But yeah, it was interesting that he was just, this tiny little guy, and, kind of reminds me of him and Bulma on Adventures. And, eventually at a certain point, Toriyama did kind of sneak in that little writing of Bulma was just wondering a what if scenario, or she mentioned something by passing about that. The one shot's nice too. It's just all stuff that's used in the manga later on. But I would say, maybe check that one out first. It's like a rough idea. And if you even want a rougher idea, I found on his Twitter a year prior, or was it 2019 or 2020, he was actually drawing Oga, trying to get some ideas out for this manga on there. And then eventually, hey, it got picked up by Shonen Sunday, so that's really cool. But yeah, again, guys, go check this one out. You're going to have a great time. And with that, that's all I got to say today, guys. Thank you for sticking for this episode. Would love to hear your thoughts about this series. I see a big future for this one. So while we wait for those chapters, you can send your thoughts and questions to unversedpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to bring those up on future episodes. And then you can follow us on social media at unversedpodcast anywhere you go, and we'll let you know when those episodes drop. So thanks, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.